Hey there everyone! Welcome back to another exciting video for the Shibarium community and its partners. I'm Cezanne Shib, and my mission is to spread knowledge and positivity within the Shibarium ecosystem. This video is the 33rd of all X-Space Weekly DAO Update series. This X-Space was held September 5th, 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another K9 Finance Weekly DAO Update Spaces. You are here once again on a Thursday afternoon, at least if you're live and not listening to the recording, with me for a K9 update. Hello, I am Pulse Digital in the K9 Finance account once again to do a weekly update. You are here for the afternoon show number 33, according to the title up top. It says Weekly DAO Update number 33, September of Staking, meaning that it is September and we are ready for fall. So we are headed into that season now. Kids are, at least in North America, kids are going back to school. It's football season. American football season's kicking off. Good times. I'm very excited about all of it. We're going to build a panel today to go over everything that's happened in the last 7 days since we exited August. We've got forum updates, a number of forum updates that we're going to give you today. You're going to want to hear these 3 very important proposals. We're going to go over all of those. Buzz will go over this with Turtle, and there's a lot of details to get into. There's also stuff about an audit being passed. We're also going to go through some reminders for raids. It'll be a good show. So request a spot, come up, we'll get you up here and lined up. In the meantime, if you cannot request a spot, you can participate. There are things you can do in a Spaces. You can comment in the bottom right. That's super helpful. If you've got something you can add to the conversation, if you've got a question, that's the place to do it. Remember to use the @ tag. Tag somebody if you're trying to get in touch with us down there. Best thing to do is @ tag the person you want to talk to so we can check the comments and then we'll know that you're talking to us down there. So check down there. Share the Spaces. If you know somebody that's not here that should be, share it, get them a link. They'll be able to join that way. That's the best way to get them into the Spaces. Send a DM. It's very helpful. And finally is emojis. Emojis help me, helps the other speakers to know that you're hearing everything. You get an idea of what's going on by seeing the emojis. So feel free to press those buttons. Now, I see Turtle got up in a spot and I'll wait for everybody else. Turtle, how are you today?
Doing well, man. I was just outside feeding the chickens, and I'm actually at my parents' house taking care of their pets. So it's been a nice change of scenery. Not really getting outside much because I can't seem to get away from the screen. Things have been busy, but yeah, doing well. Hopefully you are as well.
I am. Sometimes just knowing the outdoors is there is nice, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Even just, getting out into the forest and the trees and having chickens around you, it reminds you to touch grass every once in a while, I guess is the meme.
Yeah, as they say. Buzz got a mic spot. Buzz, how are you?
Hey, Shane, I'm doing well. Definitely a busy week and lots to discuss here, so I'm excited.
Well, I'm ready to tear into it. I know that it was busy just because last week we had that news at the end about the, quote, most important vote of all time coming to K9. We made a big deal out of it. So now all that stuff's rolled out. It's all available now in the forum. And hopefully people that are here listening, if you were listening to this recording and you haven't been there, hit pause and go to the forum right now. Open up a window, forum.k9finance.com, because you're going to want to see the newest things that are there, because we're about to talk about a lot of that stuff as part of this conversation today. So if you haven't, you need to check it. If you have, get ready. Because Buzz and Turtle have gone through. There's been a lot of great commentary back and forth. And if any of you were part of the conversation on the forum and you needed more clarity and you wanted it verbally, now's the time to do it. You got the boys up here. So unless you can get them in a Telegram chat, now would be the time. So Buzz, I'll let you get right into it since we got into the Spaces. I always let you start, but I'll be curious where you want to go right out of the gate. What are you thinking about this week?
Majority of our thoughts are certainly on this forum post. So the forum post is breaking down the parameters for how rewards and fees are going to work within the K9 product. So there was a forum post that outlined a proposal. It's important to frame it as a proposal because I think some people may read it and be like, oh, I don't like this, and rather than provide a suggestion. So a proposal was made for how the rewards would be distributed. The proposal also included how what the fees would be set at. So for the different actions that people are doing in the product, what the fees are going to be and where those fees are going to go. And at the end of that proposal, it outlined, okay, based on these many assumptions in what we want to get in terms of volume, activity, and things like that, here are the reward rates that we think we can target. And also very important in that discussion is that those reward rates are based on a lot of assumptions. The financial model was made available, definitely a summarized one. The original is much larger, but there is a Google Sheet which anyone can download and start to play with those parameters and see how it may change elements within the product and what those reward rates may be and things like that. So it's certainly a really important discussion. We did have a VC, I believe it was on Monday, with the community where I think about 40 people came and we talked about it in depth to give people some color on the pros and cons of switching some of those variables. So, hey, if we allocate more rewards to this stakeholder, how does that change things? And I think that was a great discussion. I know Archangel, who's in the audience, he was there and quite active in that discussion. And Chibibi has been asking some really great questions. Same with Rugrat, who I see here as well. So that's been the bulk of the time this week, building out that model, presenting it, responding in the forum, which has been great. And there's also 2 other very important forum proposals as well, which I can probably let Turtle get into in more depth, but they're regarding risk aversion in the Treasury to move away from DAI, and then the other one, which I'm sure many people, if they're in the canine community, have probably heard about, was in relation to the latest Shib DAO vote. So giving the canine DAO the ability to use DAO funds to vote in other DAOs as well in the best interest of our community.
Well, I have a question about the canine product fees thing. That's something you mentioned. The variables were given to you and that some of this is still up in the air and for change. Why are you giving yourself such a wide berth on this? And I'm not holding your feet to the fire. I'm just kind of wanting clarification because there's a lot of variables here. Can you explain a little bit about why you've given yourself that buffer zone?
The buffer zone in regards to wanting feedback from the community on these variables?
No, just like some of the rates and why you guys are having these conversations and what to expect. Like why has this been such a conversation? Because I looked at how many comments are in there. Like you said, I did send invites, by the way, to the people you mentioned to bring them up and just maybe hear some of that. What's the back and forth really been about? Like what's the heated conversation about?
Yeah, I think like 2 of the biggest takeaways from that have been, one was that I believe the zap fees. So zapping is if you want to use Canine, you just want to click one button and do all the transactions under the hood for you. There's a fee associated with that. We've kind of talked about this on the spaces since almost the inception of Canine. I know the community is very excited about just the concept of zaps because DeFi can be confusing. And I believe it was a 2% fee for that was initially proposed. And rightfully, the community pushed back on that and said, hey, I think this should be lower. Certainly it took that feedback in, and that's definitely going to be something that is implemented and lower that fee. But one thing that I did point out in the forum is hey, this is a convenience fee. It's not something that's necessary to run the product. It's something that takes time to build. And it's there needs to be incentive amongst a DAO and for that matter, any tech product in the world, right? Like if you're building a product and there's a feature in there that makes it much more convenient for the end user, there needs to be a revenue model to justify the additional time and effort that goes into making that. And in the case of Canine, all of those fees go back to the DAO. So it's in the best interest of the DAO to set that fee at an appropriate level. So didn't feel as though 0 was the right number, but definitely somewhere on the lower scale from 2% to 0, maybe a 0.5% or something like that. So still welcome feedback coming there. And I think really good ways to frame that is by looking at the assumptions in the Excel model. So one thing that we're assuming is that 100% of the bone that is currently in the validator right now, I think that's about 2.5 billion bone, is going to migrate over to liquid staking in the first week. And the reason for that of being a reasonable assumption is that you're going to earn more. So if you participate in this, you're currently getting 2.4% by delegating to a validator. There's a risk profile associated with that. The risk profile is quite similar moving it over to liquid staking, but with the initial modeling and participating in the liquid staking and the farming, you'd actually earn a higher yield rate. Again, that's not guaranteed, many assumptions in this model, but that assumption of 2.5 million bone moving over is very key because it gives us sort of a threshold to start to analyze, okay, if say $1.25 million may move into this in week one, what percentage of those people are going to use a zap fee? And if it's maybe 10%, 20%, you can start to see, okay, the fee that we're providing for zapping, whether it's 1% or 2%, how much does that make for the DAO? And what's maybe the right number for that that's not too aggressive, but also makes our entire community some revenue for building in that convenience feature.
I love the behind the scenes thinking that goes into that. And I just wanted to have you get into it because I do think there's a certain amount of people that will always pay for convenience. You know, they'll DoorDash it right to their door versus going to pick it up themselves, for example. So this is big. And I like that there was community pushback trying to find the right number. So very cool. And you guys make sure you're in the forum because that thread is very long. Go read all that and participate in that if you can. You mentioned the external DAO voting. And the concept of this one is that you're looking for a chairman, right, to participate on behalf of people?
Yes. Let me also add just one other point. So the fees and the revenue distribution. So another thing that was pushed back on, and I thought this was a great point. It was actually Couch Adventures that brought this up to me. Was that there was a 2.5% bridge out fee, which basically means, hey, once you're in the K9 system, you've delegated to liquid staking, you're on Shibarium. We wanted to provide the product with a penalty. Like if you wanted to go back on ETH, you pay a percentage to bridge out of the system. And initially that was used because we wanted to keep the system stable. Like in the first week, first month, this is going to be volatile. We're guessing based on user bases, and we felt as though keeping money in the system and providing a high fee for exiting would be a good way to reach stabilization. But Couch Adventures pushed back on that very thoughtfully and said, hey, well, doesn't this pose an issue for arbitrage? So there's the KN Bone farming pool, and if that ever becomes out of balance because it's supposed to be always priced 1-to-1 and you're always able to take one K9 bone and receive one bone from the K9 system, but in that liquidity pool, if it becomes not balanced and there's a fee associated with balancing it, there could be a lack of incentive for people to maintain that peg outside of the K9 system. So that was another point that was changed by through the forum, which was awesome. But to go back to the other question, one clarification on the proposal to vote within other DAOs is there actually is a chairman to the roundtable of dogs already. So the proposal is saying, hey, the chairman on the roundtable should be able to use a process to gain clarity within the community of how we should all vote in other DAOs. Didn't necessarily meet existing timelines, because if you look at this other SHIB proposal, the SHIB DAO, it was like a 4-day period. And I think it was a surprise to a lot of people that vote was so quick. It doesn't align with our monthly voting structure, so we needed to kind of provide some agility there, or the ability to be agile to go vote in these. And the best solution that we kind of just proposed to the community was that the chairman of the roundtable, who's actually Turtle, his responsibility is to kind of make sure those meetings happen and with the roundtable and make sure that everyone's talking through the proposals, so that Turtle would be the one who would get a quorum and how we should vote in other DAOs and be able to execute that.
Turtle, you want to touch on that?
Yeah. I was only I really Buzz covered the basis of all the details there. I do want to just mention there was great feedback in the forum again, and it helped kind of me dial down on the clarity. So I did add a reply just before the space that just outlines what we just said here, which is we want to act on behalf of the community, come up with some quick off-chain voting solution, something we can throw around and get everyone to fill out. And then once we actually perform a vote, that's with usually the tokens that you would need, and that's all in the safe. So the multi-sig would be executing the actual votes. I just know there was a little bit of concern around that. But I do think it's good for us to be agile and able to contribute in other ecosystems. So hoping that one goes through.
Can you compare and contrast for me the difference between the way that the 4-day vote occurred for them versus our process, and what some of your feelings were from watching from this side of that?
Yeah. I was really surprised when I saw Shai tweet out the snapshot vote, because I hadn't seen any kind of activity or really heard anything about DAO governance, at least in the recent months. And so I jumped in and started kind of getting into the history of it all. And it seems like, they do have a DAO in place, and I wasn't actually aware of it. So it did get me excited. However, it seems a bit haphazard. That might be a polite way to put it. But, any sort of DAO structure and the kind of ideas they were going after, either burning SHIB or building a community fund and then putting it in the hands of SHIB holders, I think that's phenomenal. I do think it works better with a good process. So that was my lightweight feedback on that.
Yeah, I'm not throwing you to the wolves or anything, asking you to say something up here that is going to make anybody mad or anything. I think it's interesting because we work so hard here to build up the forum structure and get everybody accustomed to the idea that things go to the round table for consideration. And then this thing just gets thrown on people. And it was a surprise. It was a surprise for a lot of people. It wasn't just you guys. It caught a lot of people off guard. So a lot of people were left to kind of read like you were. And I was just interested because you, who has been so meticulous, who has measured 13 times before every cut, seeing that happen, I wonder, did you learn any lessons from watching it? Did you see any feedback and say, oh, wow, I'm going to really think hard about that?
Yeah, I think the lesson was don't react quickly and surprise people with votes. People don't really like it. And even, we sometimes have things come up where like, oh man, a month's a vote away. What do we do? And it has to be in the forum for so long. And we have to get all this feedback. Running a DAO is hard, but it's worth it, right? And what you have to do is identify the opportunities like came up about voting off-chain quickly to do smaller things, or we have an emergency voting process if something really were that critical or important that we could try to act on. For me, it just structure and managing expectations goes a long way with the DAO, and I don't think you'll keep continued engagement without that. And I think they're probably going to run into that issue.
One more thing, and then I'll back off. Do you think that having the structure that we have tiered up through the roundtable of dogs and the management council and stuff like that is better structured for lightning fast decision making, at least in that we've entrusted, this council to make decisions, and if it need be, they're entrusted to do that versus maybe what we didn't know?
Yeah, we do have kind of a fast track process you can read about on the website, and we have really smart minds on the roundtable who are pretty much always online, like most of us in crypto. So I'm fully confident that anything critical comes up, we're in a really good position to act on something like that. And I don't think people would be surprised, right? You can go on the website and read, oh, okay, this was an emergency vote. Here's the process. That's always been the process. Reliability and predictability, I think, goes a long way in crypto, and just doing exactly what you say and people being able to count on it. So that's what we try to stick to.
The reason I bring all this up is I know some of you might have been here for all of these spaces, 33 of them, but there's going to be some people here that haven't been here the whole time. And it's important to remind people from the ground up how this is designed and why it works this way. And that provides a great real life compare and contrast. So it's not like they did anything wrong or we're doing anything right. I'm just using it to shine a light on what's been done differently over here so that if anyone hasn't been here to see how it was all built, you can kind of look at it and go, oh, okay, well, now I get it. It makes more sense. So I appreciate you letting me ask some of those questions because I know none of these were prepared for you ahead of time. It's on the fly stuff. Now, the third proposal that's up is a Treasury Stables Rebalance. And I read this one myself. It actually had me looking at my own portfolio when I got done with it. So this was good, Turtle. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, so Shima and I are always on Twitter, and lately he hasn't had any time to be on Twitter because development's been so heavy. And I came across a thread a few weeks ago about DAI rebranding and changing some of the functions of their token. And I didn't think too much of it, but then I started seeing tweets all the time. So I got together with Shima and kind of showed him what's going on over there. And it seems like they've just made some changes to the foundation of the way DAI works, like being able to geo-restrict or freeze funds. And those aren't really in the spirit of decentralization, which to me means they risk losing the support of crypto audience. And if you, or really TVL, crypto TVL, and if you lose that support, then your stablecoin may not be reliable in the future. So for us, it's no personal judgment against where their business is headed or how they're growing, but we want to be risk averse with our treasury. And so the idea was, hey, we may have made slightly more yield, very, very small amount more yield off of that position. It is an attractive yield position for stables, but that minor difference isn't worth any increase in risk. Shima agreed with that analysis, and So we're going to redistribute the DAI funds into USDT. And then we had another USDT allocation, 100K from the existing Treasury budget that has yet to be allocated. So we're going to just go ahead and allocate that at the same time. Super safe, stable positions on AV. And that's it.
So for clarification, that's 100K that was already allocated. You're not asking for allocation for more.
Yeah, that's right. We had 100K left over, kind of at Shima's discretion for maybe higher risk opportunities. We haven't seen any of those that have made sense. So we figure while we're rebalancing the 100K of DAI into USDT, we can tap in and take that other 100K with us and put 200K more into the USDT position.
Cool. Thank you for clarifying. I just wanted that to be clear for anyone else. Buzz, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's like a general summary there, like the initial spirit of, I think it was close to $500,000 that was allocated for us as a DAO to park somewhere in like trying to find like a risk-free rate to park our money as a DAO, make sure that we can access it whenever, minimize risk, do it on Ethereum. And these are like low percentage points that this money earns. It's like the risk-free rate in crypto almost. The spirit of that was always minimizing risk while getting some returns. And when you see one of those positions maybe go up a little bit in the risk profile, it's like, maybe we should adjust that and go to these areas where we feel is more closer to that risk-free rate. And you can't see me, but I'm doing air quotes because, of course, nothing is risk-free in crypto. So it's just about risk balancing, and that was the spirit of this minor adjustment proposal.
Not that I expect any of them are going to receive a lot of pushback, but I think that'll be the slickest of the three through the forum, just because people like me read that and they're like, yeah, well, why not? Funk, what do you think about it?
I'm surprised that Buzz has hands to do air quotes. I thought it was just integrated in a cyborg-like way to his computer, and he just works only on the computer and just gets fed, I don't know, through like some kind of system. I don't know. No, it's obviously amazing, guys. It's the level. I mean, here's the thing is to even understand how to put any money and understand the risks is a huge knowledge gap that most people don't have, myself included. If you gave me $1 million today and they said, try to make it as risk averse as you can, I mean, I'd know to put it in a multi-sig, but I wouldn't know which stables to diversify it in, how I could earn yield on it safely. And so just information and knowledge that these guys have about the infrastructure of cryptocurrency, the opportunities that are available, being able to do those calculations is extremely valuable to the DAO. And it makes me feel very, very confident as a canine holder that these guys know what they're doing and I'm going to be protected. And even if one thing goes wrong, with one stable coin or one asset, that's accounted for and everything's gonna be okay. Feels like sleeping on a soft, gentle pillow.
Thanks for making the bed, Turtle and Shima. We appreciate you for the turn down service. I'll run with the analogy. I like that. The next thing I've got up on my list, this one actually, Frank told me he had been running around town passing out flyers about this. We've passed another audit, Buzz. Did you hear Frank was going door to door and letting people know?
That sounds like Frank. He was probably opening the door for people while he was doing it because he's a nice Southern gentleman.
Yeah, word was he printed out flyers and he was letting his neighbors know. So can you tell us a little bit about the audit that was because we got a lot of things that have been audited. So can you clarify what this means and why we're excited about this one?
Yeah. I mean, excitement's like a funny word, right? Somebody had told me the other day that as K9, we don't take enough time to celebrate the wins. And for a lot of other projects, an audit is like such a large win for them, and it's something to celebrate greatly. But the way that we think about it is it's a stepping stone. It's the right way to launch a product. Like any smart contract that you're ever issuing on chain, in my opinion, should go through at least some form of audit. And we've done that since the beginning. Every single audit that we've done has been through SourceHat. They are incredibly reputable. I was telling Entropy on a marketing call this morning, just the good praises of SourceHat. Like they're maybe not the provider in the market that has the highest brand value, like a Certic or something like that, although people may have opinions there, but they're more than just a pass your code through an automated auditing machine. They're looking at making sure that when contracts are deployed, it matches the audit. They're sitting on multi-sigs to make sure that governance procedures are followed. Like they're an end-to-end auditing partner, and that's how we see them. And these two audits that were published this morning were the audits for the Bone Crusher product, which is going to launch on September 18th. So those are now published. They're in the tweet that's been pinned to the showcase here in the spaces if anyone wants to read them. I do encourage it, because if you're putting your money into anything in crypto, you should have that publicly available information that's written in a way that you can actually understand, to read it end to end and see how it works. What are the risks? How was it audited? Or were the audit findings fixed? Were they adjusted? Did the team do what they said they're going to do? And that's why we love working with SourceHat, is because they have a really good end-to-end process of making sure that audits actually match products. So it's a really great win. That audit's there for people to review. It'll go on the website soon, probably in the next day or so that people can access it easier, and should just give people confidence that all of the right steps are being taken to make sure that when we launch on September 18th that we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's to make sure that the community's safe. And that audit is not going to stop there with SourceHat. So one great service offering that they give for dApps or DeFi products like this is they, like I said, they'll match to make sure that the deployed contracts match the audit. And there's no risk there. But they'll also go through and do like some light penetration testing and things like that of the testnet and the contracts on mainnet to make sure that not only is there no vulnerability in the smart contracts themselves, but anytime Web 2 touches the Web 3 contracts, there could be areas of vulnerability there. So they do some extra checks just to make sure that infrastructure is set up correctly. There's no holes in infrastructure. So we're going through all of that process now to make sure that the community will be safe.
SourceHat's been around for a while. Have we got an audit from them on some other stuff already, I think?
Yeah. We have an audit on our Ethereum token, our Shibarium token, our vesting portal for anyone who did participate in the pre-sale long ago, and now we have the full audit on the product as well. So they've been a great partner. I believe they've been around since 2017, but you'd have to fact check me on that. So they're a long-standing player in the market. Hundreds, if not thousands, of audits that they've done with no vulnerabilities, which is great confidence there. They're American-based. I think they have an office in Washington. So for a lot of people, there's comfort in that it's from the team is from a very respected jurisdiction. And they're just great people too. We've been working with them very closely and very much so enjoy working with them. They're very, very bright, very ethical and honest people, and can't say enough kind words about them.
Should extend them an invite when the dApp goes live. Maybe they can come talk about the auditing process and what it is that, difference between auditing a token. I think a lot of people are used to token audits, but there's a difference when they're auditing something like a DeFi dApp and what they're basically being paid to white hat hack. They're going in and trying to break it in every way they can and work together with a team. So it'd be an interesting conversation, at least for those in the audience that are inclined to the tech stuff. I know not everyone logs in for that, but shout out to SourceHat. I guess we all owe them a thank you. I don't think they've come to the spaces yet, so maybe that'd be something to extend to them. Turtle, this audit also exciting for you, right? And you have any thoughts on it?
I think you made a great point about, a lot of tokens get audited and it's really just like an individual token contract, and typically these things are copies of each other and pretty simple. And even then it's super critical, right, to get usually, a good audit. For something like liquid staking protocol, there's a lot more to it. And after working with, previous projects and other auditing firms and working with SourceHat on K9, they're the most hands-on, deep dive auditor that I've worked with. So I'm just really impressed with them, and I think it's a great idea to get them up on one of the next spaces.
Would be cool. We'll work on getting the invite out and see if we get it in their schedule to pull up on a Thursday. See if they can make it at that 3 p.m. time slot. You guys know we're picky about getting them to come to our party. And if we can't, we'll figure out a way to get together, maybe in the Telegram or something. I don't know about their time schedules. Going down my list as we approach nearly the halfway point in another K9 Finance Weekly DAO Update Space is brought to you in part by K9 Finance, your provider for liquid staking on Shibarium and beyond Shibarium. Stay tuned for more news on the 18th of September as product goes live. We need more comments and stuff too, by the way. And everybody put some pin posts up top. Funk and Turtle all put some stuff up top for you guys for eye candy. If you haven't clicked around up in the pinned posts, please check those out. Make sure you've also shared, liked, and commented on all of those posts. Very helpful for us. The back half of this conversation, I've still got things written down that we have to get to. I'm going to give Funk some time. I want to talk about raid reminders. This week, I feel like I have to shake the raid tree and remind people how important that is. So I want Funk to get fired up, and he's going to remind you guys about that. I want to talk about the BingX listing is something I hear Buzz and Turtle talk about that. And then, of course, I've got a little slice for Buzz's Corner set aside too. So stay tuned for the back half of the K9 Finance Weekly Spaces. The BingX listing, Buzz, can you tell me about BingX? Because I'm not a BingX user, but I'm aware of their presence. What does this mean for us?
It's great. We were talking about it in Monday's VC and Telegram. Some of the highlights there that I mentioned are that if you look at SimilarWeb, so SimilarWeb is a website that you can use to see where websites are receiving traffic from around the world. And when we look at our Google Analytics, we try to use that as a data-driven tool to say, okay, what are next markets that we might want to enter, and how can we partner with places to give us more exposure to those new markets. And if you look at BingX on SimilarWeb, majority of their traffic is from Russia. One thing that we've noticed in the last couple months to our Google Analytics is that we have had some traffic coming from Russia and some of the other jurisdictions that BingX is very popular in. So the listing went great. It was very smooth. I know that Lightspeed had made some comments maybe like 6 weeks ago or something like that in the general Telegram, noting that it was a mastery in negotiation and how BingX was spoken to. And for those who may be wondering, that was just because BingX was forced to buy K9. So they actually had to purchase K9, and they did so from the market and had to prove it to us to list the token. So that was an excellent conversation with them, and the listing went well. And I think the takeaway there is that because we've been getting so much interest, and of course the gate listing, and that being our first kind of tier one interest from other exchanges as well, that the DAO is now in a very good position to, when exchanges approach, and to be like, yeah, you can list us, but go buy the tokens and go figure it out on your own. And I think for a lot of people that were around for SHIB, especially near the very beginning, it was a very similar stance that SHIB was able to take, and that I believe it's actually in some of the original papers where SHIB was like, hey, you can list us, but yeah, go buy the token and do it yourself. And of course, that really helped propel SHIB to new levels. So very excited about that new market to enter. From what we've been told from the market makers, the organic volume and traffic there has exceeded their expectations, which is exciting, and just becomes another way for people to access K9, come to be a part of our community, purchase K9 to get involved in the DAO, use the product, and we see those as all net positives for distribution and the ability to grow.
And the bravado and the way that you said go buy the tokens got me a little warm. I had to fluff the collar a little bit, bro. You got go buy the damn tokens. I'm not used to aggressive Buzz. I'm used to calm Canadian developer Buzz, but he said that with some authority. Turtle, have you ever seen that side of him before?
Buzz is like powering up the closer we get to launch. Like, all I know is he has unlimited energy, it seems like. So it's probably just launch anticipation and excitement bleeding through.
Well, if it turns him into an exchange bully and he keeps getting deals like that, I'm all here for it, man. I don't know whose arm he's twisting to get us into Russia, but I'll accept that. That's exciting too for BingX. I didn't realize that was Russian traffic.
Yeah, the traffic has been interesting there, and as Buzz pointed out, there's a number of exchanges that approach the team all the time. It's nice to be in kind of a more mature position and tell them, okay, well, list us then. Like, we're not interested in paying to be listed. If you want to join the community, then do what BingX did. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Awesome. Listening to everybody mature. You get those DMs. It used to jump every time you got a DM, like, oh, they want to send us a business developer. Now it's like you're like so jaded. You're like the kid behind the school. You don't even care. I love it. Well, hopefully more pile up. And it's funny because you get to a certain level where you thought you had to fight to get to the tier 1, and then the rich get richer because exchanges seem to come after you. Then it's weird how they kind of follow in line like that. Go ahead, Buzz.
No, I was just going to say it's a nice stance to be in, because it's I always consider exchanges to be like terrorists. Like they're we don't negotiate with terrorists anymore, and the exchanges can be a blessing and a curse. I've said many times on here that I don't personally use them. I don't personally like negotiating with terrorists, but I know many in our community advocate much toward when next listing, or please get us listed here, or whatever it may be. And it's a good position to be in. We're no longer negotiating with terrorists. The terrorists can come to us and work with us on their own accord.
You got me actually laughing that time because I couldn't help but think of the fact that Binance and some other people have been accused of actually having money laundering problems related to maybe not maintaining their anti-money laundering issues. So you're not too far off, I guess. Funk, you got your hand up. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, in the spirit of global politics, something that people didn't know is Buzz actually negotiated with Putin to end the Ukraine war and direct BingX directly to buy the token. So it's a directive order there, and K9 has become the official currency of both Ukraine and Russia. So that's a pretty good update.
The politics of crypto are never ending, you guys. The skills you develop in Web3, when you learn to negotiate and talk to people, it's pretty crazy.
If you keep talking like that, Funk, our space is going to get taken down real quick.
Okay, well, no, we're talking about peace across the whole world, guys, and K9 is going to be the arbiter of it. Just kidding.
Crypto solving problems we didn't even know we could help with. I had a thing sliced off for Funk because I wanted to talk about this today, and this is just a general reminder, so I want to be the one to bring it up so Funk's not in trouble. He didn't know I was going to lay this at his feet, but I felt like we needed to do a raid reminder. StockTwits went so well that first week and the second week, and we were trending and stuff like that, but I sense that Facebook has fallen off and stuff, and I want to give Funk a chance to maybe fire people up for Matt and fire people up for Frank to help them out on these raids. Funk, do you feel the same way? Do we need to refresh the raid tree a bit?
I don't know. We had some really strong raids over the weekend. We had StockTwits raid over the weekend. We got listed there too. I continue to learn more about that process. I learned that even if you're trending, you have to keep going, keep posting, stay trending as long as possible, and we could do it as much as we want on the weekend. So we're going to be strengthening those StockTwit raids. I think that those very objectively have been bringing us the most value. I do just feel that there's more correlation with buy bot notifications that are coming in during those raids. So really strong efforts there. I don't feel like that there's been any falling off on any of the social medias. We've been week over week, day over day, without missing a beat, hitting all the different raid days, including Tuesday, Wednesday. This week, we still have to do the Facebook raid today, but sometimes it gets out a little bit later to hit some different markets and metrics there. And then, just overall feel very strong about it, but too much is never enough, So obviously our goal is to see the numbers on those social accounts increase. One thing that I tend to look at is holder count, and week over week, I see holder count increasing. I see up 50, up 100, up 70, up 30, just kind of variance on how much it's up, but it is going up, and that matters more because with social media accounts, people file in, they throw it a follow, they'll throw some projects an unfollow in the future. Sometimes bots will just, for the algorithm or whatever, follow certain projects, and then sometimes they'll unfollow or get deleted. And so there's going to be an ebb and flow of social media followers on all these different accounts. But what matters most is more people are collecting and holding K9, and we are seeing that. And we're seeing obviously, a blue light, red light sale, whatever. It's a sale. There's a sale across the whole crypto market, but K9 is certainly one of those tokens that is like comparatively to the moving day average, been a pretty good pickup for a lot of people, at least in their minds, because we've been seeing a strong floor on the chart. And so basically feeling pretty good about the raids. Also, we have Bone Crusher launch coming up the 18th. So I've been reactivating a lot of the old KOLs, a lot of the people that maybe bought into pre-sale, maybe they sold out, maybe they didn't. sending them a lot of DMs and saying like, hey, let's get re-engaged with K9, because those people already have familiarity with K9. You know, they probably bought in and were like, oh, maybe I'll tune back in when the product launches. A lot of people do that. So this is a key time for everyone here, as well as myself and the team here. And yeah, please don't demonetize us. Sorry if the joke went too far, Buzz. But when it comes to promoting the 18th Bone Crusher launch, tell people, yo guys, the product's launching soon. Check this out. You know, like get them re-engaged. Don't necessarily obviously tell people to buy a bag, but you know, in DMs is the most powerful way for crypto marketing, word of mouth. Hey, I heard about this new product. It's amazing. Check this out, change my life. Those are the types of things that move the needle. It takes a big grassroots effort to do that. So in my opinion, the time is now. People usually do expect some hype before a product launch. And so you're gonna be seeing a lot of social media posts going out from a lot of those different people that are excited for the Bone Crusher release. Not only that, we've been really working on trying to get more people to get ready to delegate their bone. You know, we're sending the messaging, the rhetoric that this is going to be potentially the best APY that's currently on the market for your bone. So is your bone sitting in your wallet collecting dust? Mine is personally. And to be able to put this in the liquid staking derivative, have my cake and eat it too with the K9 bone, be able to trade a little bit more on Shibarium. You know, sometimes I forget to do that. So being able to do that, or to be able to zap it and use the zap function with the new lower fee potential. I'm even going to use Zap. I know how to pair tokens, but I'd rather use that function as well. So I'm really excited to use this and put my bone to good work. And it's really important for us to get project leads, project communities to tell their communities, hey, this is going to be a huge catalyst for Shibarium volume, and that volume could come to some of their tokens. So I think it's a mutually valuable value prospect to get these communities, to get these tokens, to get all these influencers on Shibarium pushing this product launch and pushing all the different things you can do with both Bone Crusher and K9 token.
Go ahead, Buzz.
I just wanted to clarify that the demonetization thing was a joke, probably maybe a censorship joke.
No, I was waiting for my sorry Funk. You got to go right after this DM. I'm like, I went too far, man. I went politically too far.
Guys with a black bag are kicking in the door right now. If you guys see Funk drop off, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. It made me laugh. Go to Gulag. No jokes allowed. I want to reinforce how important he did mention this, that he thought there was a correlation between some of the buy bots on the weekend and StockTwits. StockTwits has an audience of typically more educated investors who I think this product appeals to in a way that being active over there is, I think, more likely to catch it's the right bait for the right type of fish. So I do agree with what he was saying, and I just want to applaud everyone that's worked on StockTwits, because I know learning that system over there, it is different. It is easy to get shadow banned, and you kind of have to learn the system, but keep it up, and it is a grind. And once one of these days you guys see the trending on like a weekday, because they have a thing on Monday, they post a thing on Mondays that's like the most trending crypto from the weekend, and once you start seeing yourselves posted on Mondays and Tuesdays, that's a big deal. You'll be thrilled.
Hey, I just want to make one clarification too. Mr. Matthew did go ahead and post the Facebook raid today a little bit earlier. I just missed it. I've been like really nose to the grindstone working to promote this Bone Crusher launch. So Facebook raid went on schedule like usual, and you guys can go raid Facebook today and go follow our Facebook as well. I'll pin up a tweet up there so that has the link to our Facebook, so you can get engaged there.
Thank you. Facebook Thursday, and then Friday is X with Frank. So make sure you guys are staying tuned in for all the raids. Is that right, Funk?
Yeah. I think we might use some Shield bot tomorrow. I'm going to tell him to really get the community active and really get us getting their X posts out there. I mean, we got a lot to be excited about, ton to be excited about here at K9 Finance, and I couldn't be more excited.
Cool, man. We'll look forward to hearing it all in the Telegram tomorrow night. Remember, he's got a live VC, does Frank, tomorrow as well, usually on Friday nights. So tune in for that. We've sliced off enough time perfectly at the 15-minute mark. Funk, go ahead, then we're going to do Buzz's Corner.
Okay, it's going to be less than a minute. One other update that I wanted to do is I've been tasked on a secret agent, super super secret project. Still working on it. I'm excited to release the details. Buzz and Turtle want everything to be perfect. So although I'm anxious to reveal the secrets of the super spy project, it's not a spy project, but it's kind of a secret endeavor that I'm on. We can't do it quite yet, but just know that there's something big besides Bone Crusher. Something huge for K9, the K9 token, coming down the pipeline, and you're free to speculate on what that may be.
I was writing the entire time and can't wait to go get everybody chasing Funk's super secret spy endeavor. I'm going to go straight to Midjourney when I get done with this. It's going to be a whole Carmen Sandiego theme. Cannot wait. Buzz, it's time for the corner, bro, while I sit and come up with all my prompts for that. I cannot wait to hear what's been on your mind in the last 7 days. Can you let everybody have a seat around you and enamor us with Buzz's corner, please?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a couple things. So one is just like a story I wanted to tell about another crypto project. And then the second is I'd love to kind of circle back just to the importance of the one forum post. So the first is a story just as a kind of aligns with what I'm seeing in the market right now. And for those who don't know, Gnosis is the company that runs the Safe Wallet. So Safe Wallet is the most used multi-sig wallet in the space. Gnosis, they're a European-based team. They've been around since 2017. They build a lot of crypto products that people use en masse. Millions of users are using their products. One of the most reputable crypto companies around. They've been around since 2017. They build awesome stuff. I actually believe that I believe they got a grant from the Ethereum Foundation at one point, and were kind of incubated by Joe Lubin's team, who was one of the founders of Ethereum, to build up Gnosis. So the long story short, they have an incredible reputation. But back in 2017, they did an ICO. I believe this ICO raised more than 60 to 80 million. The numbers are not off the top of my head, but it was in that range. And their token did exceptionally well in a bull run in 2017. And the market for Ethereum was running, and everything in the market was running in that 2017 era. But 2018 hit, and they were holding all of their treasury in Ethereum. And all of a sudden, their treasury went from the Ethereum price of being nearly, I think it was $1,000 down to $100. I think the Ethereum one as low as $80, but their treasury depleted significantly. But this team kept building and building and building, and 2019 came around, and it looked like dire straits. Their treasury was very, very, very low. And but they were building really great products. People certainly believed in them. And then when 2020 came around and the price of Ethereum started to balloon again in that COVID era, people noticed something very interesting about Gnosis, and it was that they had amazing products. Their token had depleted in value. It was down like 90%. But when you looked at their treasury, their Ethereum had gone up significantly, and their treasury was actually worth, I want to say at the time, somewhere between like 2 to 3x the total market cap of the Gnosis token. So what people recognize is that this project that was building amazing technology had a token that was likely underperforming to what they were building. They also had a treasury that made it so that they were this behemoth in the market. They had so much runway. They had amazing engineers. They had an amazing team, and they can continue building more products to bring more utility to the token. And if you look at Gnosis today, back in I think it was 2021, after people started to realize the size of their treasury according to the market cap, their token did, I think it was like a 50x. Like their token went from $22 up to maybe even higher than $500. And even today, it's sitting significantly higher than it was at that moment in time when people realized that this team was building amazing technology their treasury was very robust, but their token was underperforming. And you all know that I have never really talked about the canine price or anything like that. I always talk about what we're building, but if there's any parallel that you may want to draw from that story to canine, I'll kind of let those in the audience do that. But it was a story that I remember watching Gnosis from the start, and I just felt it was very interesting to look at. If you look at canine right now and the size of our treasury, what we're building, what we're delivering, and then compare that to the market cap of the coin, I think there'll be some surprising realizations there, and I'll let people draw their own conclusions from that. But I'll pause there if you had any questions, Shane, so that we can just maybe transition to more of the talk about the forum post.
Oh man, I'm going to let that sink in. They can make of that what they will.
Cool. Well, back to the forum post, I just want to draw even more attention to the reward rate and the fee distribution. So the roundtable meeting is tomorrow. I believe it's tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Turtle can correct me on that. But the way that these roundtable discussions go is they look at everything in the forum. They look at the original proposal, they look at all the comments, and then part of that 1 hour to an hour and a half discussion is saying, okay, here was all the comments, the feedback, let's move forward with a vote that says XYZ. That takes all of the comments into consideration. And I feel that that's very important for this one specifically because there's a lot of moving parts. I anticipate that conversation is going to be very deep with the roundtable tomorrow, and I just encourage everyone to get their 2 cents in there so that they can be heard. And why I think this is the most important proposal is because the yield rates of what people are going to see on the platform after the launch, it is in the hands of the community right now. We've taken the numbers, we've put together assumptions that we think are achievable, and we've said, hey, to reach these KPIs that we've outlined, this is likely a reasonable way to allocate these rewards and put these fees. But there's different stakeholders here, right? It's been recognized in the forum that canine holders are a stakeholder and bone holders are a stakeholder. And in order for the canine product to work properly, and I know, Shane, you were teasing about this whole flywheel effect, but we do want to build that flywheel. We need to give people a reason to want to stake and lock their canine, and that reason comes in the form of yield. But we also need to give bone holders a reason to use the liquid staking in a manner where they think this is the best place to put their bone. And the reason we need that flywheel is that the more bone that is put into the liquid staking product, not only is that bone taken out of circulation, helps bone, helps Shibarium, but it's also more rewards that our validator is going to accrue and then therefore distribute them within the same system. So it's very important that we hit both of those stakeholders. And right now in that proposal, it's recognized very early at the start that the majority of the rewards are going to be going to canine holders right now. And it's outlined in there that, hey, there is a risk that bone holders do not find this to be as appealing as it could if more rewards were distributed to them. The way that that's offset in this proposal is with a lucrative opportunity with escrow canine. So I know that when we're speaking about this verbally, it's a lot of information to digest. There's bone holders, canine holders, escrow canine, rewards per second, and it's a lot of mathematical detail that people may gloss over just listening to it. But I very much encourage people to read that forum post, understand that this is a system that we need to allocate rewards to different stakeholders. All of the stakeholders are important to build up yield rates and reward rates and incentivize participation. And why we're really calling this out as the most important proposal is because once September 19th comes around, September 30th, whatever the date is after the launch, we don't want the community coming back and saying, oh, like you should have done this, or the reward rates are too high here or too low here. This is exactly why we do this exercise and why we put people to the forum so that everyone is heard and we make a decision together. It's not one person. It's not me coming to the forum and saying we have to do it this way. it's coming together as a community, educating ourselves pre-product on how we want this to work, and then we can adjust it over time. But with any DeFi product, there's certainly people in the community that are going to come around, or new entrants in the community, and ask in the Telegram or ask wherever it may be and say, oh, why didn't this happen? How come bone holders aren't rewarded more? And what we do as a community is we take that feedback now, we educate people now, so that when that comes around, maybe a month from now or whenever it is, we can revisit, but we always go back to the forum and what our initial decision was, and can certainly adjust, but this is the best time right now to be heard in how we all think that these rewards should be distributed, because we all know that September 19th, people are going to be like, oh, why isn't it higher? Why isn't it lower? And this is the right time, the best time to have your feedback heard.
I'm going to leave it right there because I couldn't wrap it up any better than what you just did. So I'm just going to check in with everybody and we're going to get the hell out of here. Funk, thank you for pulling up today, man. Any thoughts before we go?
No, guys, just keep the faith in the bear market. Obviously, Bone, our friendly, one of our pair tokens actually is down. ETH is down. Everything's down. But you know what? Everything's been down 1,000 times, and everyone's always like, oh, this is truly the end. And it just turns out to be a bear trap. So you never know what the future holds for the market, but I do know what's held in store for K9 Finance, which is a really responsible treasury, a really proficient team, one of the best communities, if not the best community I've ever seen in crypto. So a round of applause for all of yourselves, and a great product that has a ton of future capabilities. I'm excited to see the roadmap for 2025. If this is what we did in 6 months or 5 months or 4 months or however long it's been, I just imagine the years to come. So I'm really excited for K9, and thank you guys all for joining.
Turtle, thoughts before we go?
You heard Buzz loud and clear. It's now or never. This is what decides the important future of how the product creates yield. And I really encourage everyone to get in there and provide their feedback. I'm sure you have time tonight or tomorrow morning before the vote, but the time is now.
All right, this is where I get to step in. I'm going to get Buzz so fired up right here. You guys ready for this? Here we go. Buzz, this is like the montage in an 80s movie where the hero has to get ready, bro. We're 3/4 of the way through the movie. The bullies kick dirt in our face and taking our girl. The music's kicking in the background. We're close to Bone Crusher, dude. Are you feeling the energy? Freaking music's pumping in the background. This is the last spaces. We got one more next week. That's the last time we have to reinforce all this stuff, you guys, before Bone Crusher comes out. Buzz is sweating at his desk with anticipation, and I hope you guys are too. Buzz, are you as fired up as I am before we go?
Yeah, that is fired me up. That was awesome, Shane.
I cannot wait. I'm so excited because I cannot be more excited to see the work that these guys have been putting in the backside of all this dev stuff to come to fruition. Remember, Turtle's got that team of code ninjas that we never get to meet. They all get to see their work come to fruition for all of us. So I am so excited for this to happen. And I will be here with you guys in 7 days from now on another Thursday at 3 p.m. for a K9 Finance weekly DAO update spaces with Buzz and the crew. Meet me back here and we're going to do it all again one more time. I appreciate your time and I'll see you next one. Have a good day, guys.